Welcome back to Arcade Sunday. Today we're going to build a Raspberry Pi 4 game system. It's Arcade Sunday. The components you're going to need are the actual Raspberry Pi itself, obviously the Pi 4 Model B. I chose the 8 GB RAM version because it's got 8 GB. The official Raspberry Pi power supply, HDMI to mini HDMI. Official Pi case exposes all the ports. It's your HDMIs and your power on the side here, audio out in that small 3.5mm jack over there. On the other side, obviously that's where you put your SD card in, and that is a power light. The other items you're going to need is an SD card large enough for your project. I've just chosen a 256 gig card. USB to SD card adapter, just made it easier to plug it to my PC and write the image. Okay, let's open up this case quickly. It's just a matter of pushing on the sides and lifting up the cover. There's the Pi installed. I've bought this aftermarket heatsink just to keep the main CPU and one of the controllers cooler. There are quite a lot of other interesting passive and active cooling options for the Pi 4, but all were sold out at the time of my order. Thanks COVID-19, once again, 2020, the year that keeps on giving. In any event, let's get it running. Once you've downloaded your image, you can visit raspberrypi.org and download the latest version of Raspberry Pi Imager. It's pretty straightforward to use. You basically select your source operating system and your destination disk, or SD card in this case, then click write. This process can take some time to complete, so just be patient and make some coffee. Okay, so now we've written the image to the SD card. I've inserted the SD card into the underside of the machine with the lip side of the card facing the bottom of the console. The next important thing to remember about connecting the power to the Raspberry Pi 4, the Pi 4 adapter actually looks like a USB-C, and it's actually the same form factor as USB-C. Keep that in mind when you're powering it up. I'm going to put HDMI into number 1, put power to the extreme left side one, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose the correct input on my TV. This image was recommended by a lot of people on the forums. There are, of course, lots of other image options available to you. Okay, just for interest, I've plugged the two controls into the two ports on the black colored ports, not the USB 3 ports. Basically just going to map the buttons to what they're asking here. So D-pad up, down, left, right, start, select. Okay, so this should be your default view. I suppose when you start out, it starts alphabetically. I presume it'll start off the last game you played. I'm sure you can turn this background music off. I'll look into that in a minute. We've got some Amiga gaming here. Oh, this is cool. Amiga CD. Okay, this is a lot of arcade classics. We'll look at that shortly. 2600, I'm interested in looking at this, obviously. 5200 will be interesting too, and 78 links Thomas Wave. Wow, that's nice. That might be, don't joke, that could be Metal Slug 6. Let's have a look here. Okay, so basically there's a lot of games here. This is like going through all the systems here. Oh, Naomi, DS, Neo. Oh, nice. Very cool. Okay, NES. Okay, it's obviously going to be a ton of games here. Okay, this is Pixel. This is a whole sort of a desktop, which is actually pretty cool to have inside a gaming system. So it's useful for people who want to play games or have kids, but they also want to actually use a machine for work purposes. This is actually a great option. It has a full suite of productivity software really built in. It's literally started to configure it and use it with a mouse and keyboard. It's a fantastic addition to a gaming image. Okay, ports are like PC games, it appears, so ports from PC to Pi. Don't really know much about these yet either. Okay, let's switch a machine off and on. Okay, there's PSP, which is interesting. There's actually some very good games on PSP. So many games. Okay, these options, I'll look at that just now. Scum VM, now this is quite interesting because this is an emulator for the Scum engine, which runs classic, well, we needed them on a PC, but they were available on other computers back then. Some of the Quest games, LucasArts Quest games, plus some others that we probably never saw. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm sure you'll find all the classic Super NES games here. There's a lot of games on here that were actually written on the 6800. In fact, here's Argos Nosenshi, aka Rygar, in other parts of the world. And this basically is the arcade game running on your home computer. It was just amazing system for the time. So suffice to say, there's a very, very large amount of games. In fact, I looked it up. It says 12,990 games are included in this image, which is quite a lot of games. I wonder if you'd ever be able to play all of them. I'm just going to do a few game demos. It won't be an exhaustive demo of every single game, obviously, because there are a couple of games here. So let's try like one arcade game, one console game, etc. So far, so good. Plays pretty good. You can actually play with either the analog stick or the D-pad. Okay, some good old classic Space Invaders. Let's choose the Fast Bomb game. It's game 5. Challenging game. Play this one if you want to play Space Invaders. If you think Space Invaders is an easy game, play game 5. So far works obviously 100% perfectly. Very, very original. Actually looks quite nice in this sort of high-res format somehow for Space Invaders, I think. Oh no! Brr. This is one of my favorite games for Super NES. This is Axelay. Lovely music. Just a great game. Actually plays very well. Very, I think, very good graphics for the time. Basically power up as you go through the game. You get other options later on later stages, and you can choose which ones you want. For first stage, you don't have any options. You just have to take what you get. Okay, again, let's fire. Okay, so the shoulder buttons work out of the box as you would expect on the Super NES.
Hey, come on up! It's party time. Let's have some fun.
Okay, let's just try and play this and see how it plays.
Crazy time.
Let's just choose this guy.
We're gonna have some fun. Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go.
Okay, so far it plays very, very well. If you've never played Crazy Taxi, you better play it. It's a great game. Another great Mega Drive game. We used to play not this version, but the NBA Jam original. This is the tournament edition, but it plays very similarly, of course. Great game. This is the game that everybody's talking about right now. This is Metal Slug 6. It was effectively hacked off of a Naomi system. So this was actually, I believe, an arcade game that never hit the home market. Some group actually converted this to be able to run on the home system. So this is a very special game. Suffice to say that there's almost 13,000 games on this image. I don't think that you would ever need to add any more games to that. Wolfanos, it's a great image and it runs very well on the Pi 4. Highly recommended. by Arcade Sunday. And with that, it's just for now.